page 714, chapter 6, essay writing. 42. Essays may be divided into three main classes. A. Descriptive, that is, those which describe some place or thing, that is, first, countries, towns, mountains, buildings, etc., such as Calcutta, the Himalayas, the Qutub Minar. Second, manufactured articles, such as paper, aeroplane. Third, animals, plants, minerals, etc., such as the cow, the banyan tree, iron. Fourth, aspects and phenomena of nature, such as volcanoes, earthquake, flood. B. Narrative, that is, those which narrate some event, past or present, real or unreal, such as the life of a person, a football match, or a religious ceremony you have witnessed, a flood or an earthquake, a voyage or journey, etc. Note: earthquake, flood, etc., used as general terms, make descriptive essays, but when a particular earthquake or flood, etc., is referred to, the essay is narrative. C. Reflective, that is, those which contain the reflection of the author on some topic, generally on an abstract number, that is, 1. Habits, qualities, etc., like truth, friendship. Second, social, political, or literary questions like female education, caste system, etc. Note: subjects like If I Were a King, the autobiography of a coin, fall under the third category. 43. How to proceed? The first step in writing an essay is to be sure that you have clearly understood what the subject means. Suppose you are asked to write an essay on a football match you have witnessed. This is quite different from the game of football, and if you write an essay on the latter subject, you will be wrong. B. Then think deeply over the subject and jot down the ideas or points on paper as they occur to you. C. Next, arrange these points in groups under suitable headings. D. Now, develop the points in the outlines into separate paragraphs. Care must be taken that each paragraph deals with only one point and that you do not wander off to other points or make repetition. E. The last step is revision. It is essential. Note: the jotting down of points and drawing up of the outline should be made in a separate piece of paper and should never be shown in the essay. The paragraphs should not be numbered. 44. An example is given below. The cow. Let us jot down the points that occur in mind. First, a four-footed animal. Second, eats grass, oil cakes, and gruel. 3. The most useful of all animals. 4th, the Hindus worship her as goddess. 5th, hoofs are divided in the middle. Page 715. 6th, give us milk on which babies live. 7th, draws the cart and plows the field. 8th, very gentle. 9th, has horns. 10th, found all over the world. 11th, use of the cow dung. 12th, use of the horn and skin. 13th, chews the cud. 14th, only one set of teeth in the upper jaw. 15th, European and Australian cows are larger than Indian. Bengal cows are generally smaller and weaker. 16th, we should be kind to her and take proper care of her. Now, arrange the points in groups under different headings. First, points 1, 5, 9 and 14 describe the animal. 2. Points 10, 15 State where she is found and her varieties. Third, points 2, 8 and 13 state her food and habits. Fourth, points 3, 6, 7, 11 and 12 state her usefulness. Fifth, points 4 and 16 may form the conclusion. We have now come to some such bare outlines. First, description. A 4-footed animal has a pair of horns and only one set of teeth in the upper jaw. Hoofs are divided. Second, where found and varieties. Found all over the world. European and Australian cows are larger than Indian. Bengal cows generally smaller and weaker. Third, food and habits. Eats grass, oil cakes and gruel. Chews the cud, very gentle. Fourth, usefulness. Gives us milk on which babies live. Draws the cart and plows the field. Use of the horn, the skin and the cow dung. In fact, the most useful of all animals. Fifth, conclusion. Our duty to her should be kind to her and take proper care of her. In fact, the Hindus worship her as a goddess. Develop these outlines and you will get the complete essay. 45. There can be no uniform standard for length. It varies from a whole book like Macaulay's essays to a very brief composition barely of 1 page like Bacon's essays, but for school students something between 350 and 400 words will suffice. 46. The structure of an essay. Every essay has 3 parts: the introduction, the middle and the conclusion or end. A. The introduction. No essay should begin abruptly. A few common ways of beginning an essay are given here. First, with a definition or explanation. Duty is a thing that is due and must be paid by every man who would avoid present discredit and eventual moral insolvency. Self-control is only courage under another form. It may also be regarded as the primary essence of character. Smiles, self-control. Second, with a quotation. Breathes there the man with the soul so dead, who never to himself hath said, This is my own, my native land. Whose heart hath never within him burned, as home his footsteps he had turned, from wandering on a foreign strand. Page 716. The nobleness of patriotism has never been more finally and more passionately described than in the lines quoted above from the pen of Sir Walter Scott. Indeed, patriotism is a virtue that may well be regarded as the necessary qualification of every civilized human being. In the bracket, patriotism. Third, with a story of incident or proverb. A Grecian philosopher, on being asked why he wept for the death of his son, since sorrow was in vain, replied, I weep on that very account. In the brackets, Leigh Hunt's Death of Little Children. A man may be usually known by the books he reads as well as by the company he keeps, for there is a companionship of books as well as of men. In the bracket, Smiles, companionship of books. Fourth, with a general remark leading up to the subject. Example, you are now arrived at that age which the law thinks sufficient to make an oath taken by you valid in a court of law. Let us suppose from 15 to nearly 20, and reserving for a future occasion my remarks on your duty towards parents, Let me offer you my advice as to means likely to contribute largely towards making you a happy man, useful to all about you, and an honor to those from whom you sprang. In the bracket, Corbett's advice to young men. Fifth, in the direct way. Example, character is one of the greatest motive powers in the world. In its noble embodiments, it exemplifies human nature in its highest form, for it exhibits man at his best. In the brackets, Simple's influence of character. Second example, it seems to be an easy affair to study. There is the room, and there the books, and there the lesson. What more do you want? You want to know how to go to work. In the brackets, how to study. John Tudd's study. B. The middle is the most important part of the essay. It contains appropriate facts, arguments, examples, quotations, etc. Repetitions, unnecessary words, and doubtful remarks should be avoided, and due proportion should be maintained among the different points according to their importance. C. The conclusion. No definite rules can be laid down for the conclusion except that it should be natural and short and not abrupt or forced. A good conclusion may consist of: first, a summary of the ideas contained in the middle. Second, a natural conclusion drawn from the subject matter. Third, a quotation. Fourth, a sentence that strikingly expresses the main point. 47. It is not possible to give a standard scheme of outlines for the different types of essays. Each has its distinctive features. A few suggestions, however, are given below for general guidance. Page 717. A. Descriptive. First, places. 1. Situation. Second, origin of the name, if any. Third, geography of the place. Physical features, mountains, rivers, climate, etc. Fourth, people, their religion, education, habits, etc. Fifth, trade, commerce, communication, etc. Sixth, name of a few prominent men. Second, animals. First, a general description. Second, where found, different varieties. Third, characteristics, food, nature, habits, etc. Fourth, various uses. Third, substances like gold, iron. First, what it is, a general description. Second, where found. Third, process of purification. Fourth, characteristics. Fifth, uses. Fourth, natural phenomena like flood, earthquakes, etc. First, what it is. Second, how caused. Third, its effect. Description of the place affected. Fourth, a few notable phenomena of the kind in the past. Fifth, relief measure. Sixth, preventive measure, if any. B. Narrative. First, life of a person. 1. Date and place of birth, parentage. Second, early life. Third, education. Fourth, choice of profession. Fifth, career in life, his activities and services. Sixth, last years and death. Seventh, general remarks, character, attainment, influence, etc. Second, historical event such as the Sepoy Mutiny, the tsunami. First, the occasion, time and place. Second, the cause, if any. Third, narrative, the incidents in order of their occurrence, important persons and places connected. Fourth, result. Fifth, reflection. Third, a journey. First, the time and place. Second, companions. Third, Preparations. Fourth, important places and sights on the way. Fifth, interesting incidents on the way. Sixth, end of the journey. Seventh, general remarks on the experiences of the journey. Fourth, an accident like a fire or railway collision. First, the time and place. Second, nature of the accident. Third, cause. Fourth, consequences, loss of life and property. Fifth, how to prevent such accidents. Reflective. The outlines of reflective essays vary according to the subject. Much, however, will depend on the writer's capacity for thinking and power of observation. 718. Specimen essays. First, life in your school hostel. Points: introduction, description, your daily routine, how you feel there, and conclusion. Every good school has a hostel attached to it for the residence of teachers and students coming from distant places. Our school also has such a hostel. It consists of a long one-storied building of 20 rooms open on all sides. One of these rooms is for the superintendent, while the others are for teachers and students. There is a separate building for the kitchen and the menials. We have to live a strictly regulated life in the hostel. At 5 in the morning rings a bell. We have to get up at once, ease ourselves and wash our faces. Then comes the morning tiffin, which varies from day to day. The next 3 hours we devote to our studies. Some of the resident teachers go round our rooms and help us through our difficulties. After a little rest, we have our bath and lunch, and then we go to our classes. After school, we get some substantial tiffin, which also varies from day to day. The afternoon is devoted to physical exercise of some sort, often under the supervision of some of our physical instructors. On return to the hostel, we first wash ourselves and then sit down at our study. Our supper comes at about 9 p.m., after which we retire to bed. There are occasional variations in this program, but the superintendent and other teachers see to it that we do not indulge in any undesirable activity. I always felt sick for home for a long time after I had first come to the hostel. My heart yearned for the loving touch of my parents and others, and for the comforts I always enjoyed at home. But as time has passed on, I have begun to feel at home here. There is no want of friendship with all that it means. We are 30 boarders, making up a family with the superintendent as the head. If anyone falls ill, the hostel doctor comes in and the fellow boarders give him all the care and attention he may require. Hostel life has its advantages too. It gives us habit of self-help. We have to take care of our personal belongings ourselves, make up our own beds, and live under strict control from morning to night. These are habits which I am sure will stand me in good stead in my future life. Second, a prize day in your school. Points: introduction, where held, decorations, the proceedings, distribution of prizes, the president's speech, conclusion. Almost every school holds a prize day to distribute prizes to the meritorious students of the previous session. It is a ceremonial function of great joy not only to the teachers and students but also to the guardians and the general public. The last prize day of our school was held on the 10th March in the school compound. A big pandal was erected for the purpose. It was tastefully decorated inside. On one side was raised a platform covered with a nice carpet. The president's chair and table were placed in the middle. Near them were two other tables on which were arranged the medals and prizes in proper order. The president-elect, the principal of the local college, arrived at the gate just a few minutes before the ceremony was due to commence. The headmaster and some members of the staff received him and took him to his chair. He was then garlanded by a child amidst the cheers of all present. The pandal had already been filled with the elites of the town. Page number 719. The formal ceremony now began with a song specially composed for the occasion by a teacher. Then the headmaster read his report, which showed all-round improvement in the affairs of the school. This was followed by an interesting program of recreation and physical feats by the boys of the institution. These kept the audience spellbound by their excellence. The president then gave away the prizes, which included several gold and silver medals. Next came his speech, in which he earnestly pleaded for parental cooperation, as much more important than any reform in the administrative machinery. Turning to the boys, he laid particular stress upon the necessity of obedience and discipline for the building up of character, and urged them to be firm in purpose, catholic in outlook, and charitable in views. In this connection, he pointed out their duties as the future citizens of their motherland. The function then came to a close with a vote of thanks to the chair and the persons assembled proposed by the headmaster. Third, the last annual sports meet of your school. Points: introduction, when held, preparation, events, general description, concluding remarks. Every school has a day for annual sports. It is a day on which competitions are held among all the students of a school on different events. So, it is a day of great excitement to them all. Our last annual sports were held on December 20th. Preparations for the purpose had been finished the previous day. On the appointed date, we all assembled at about 9 a.m. in our school ground where the sports were to be held. Functions began at 10 a.m. and continued till 5 p.m. There were many events such as flat race for different groups, cycle race, long jump, high jump, pole vault, sack race, arithmetic race, orange race, etc. I had given in my name for long and high jumps, and stood second in both, having cleared 4 meters and 2 meters respectively. They were rather tame affairs and took a long time to end. The cycle race created great enthusiasm. Pavitra of class 9th took the lead from the first. Parimal of class 10th came up with him soon after. They left the others behind and raced side by side. How we cheered them both! None could feel sure who would win. It was towards the end Parimal suddenly shot ahead and won the race. The orange race of the junior group gave us much fun. The more eager did the boys, with their hands tied behind their backs, jump for the oranges, the more quickly did the things swing away from them. How trying for the boys themselves, but what fun to others! Most exciting was the tug of war between class 11th and 10th. As soon as the pull began, the students flocked round the scene and began to cheer one side or the other according to their choice. The event ended in a draw. At the end of sports, prizes were given to the first 2 in each item. I got a small suitcase and a thermos flask. Our headmaster then spoke a few words to us on the importance of sports and games in schools and college. The ceremony ended with a vote of thanks by the assistant headmaster. Page 107-20. Fourth, your daily routine. Points. Introduction. In the morning, at school, after school, at night. Conclusion. I have always lived at home with my parents, so my routine of life has not been very different from that of other middle-class Bengali boys. I get up at 5 in the morning. I then go out to a small field nearby for some physical exercise. Returning home after about half an hour or so, I wash my face and cleanse my mouth and teeth. Then comes tea with breakfast, which varies from time to time. My study hours are from 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Nothing is generally allowed to disturb me during this period. Then I spend about half an hour with my younger brother and sister, sharing in their talks and games. At 9:30 I take my bath, have my meal, and then start for school. Our school begins at 11 a.m. and breaks up at 4 p.m. with half an hour's recess after the fourth period. At school, I listen attentively to what our teachers say. Whenever I find any difficulty, I get it explained by the teachers concerned. I also sincerely try to satisfy my teachers by my conduct. The recess period sometimes take me to the company of my friends in the school and sometimes to the school library to profit by the books and papers laid there on the tables. After I return home, I wash my hands and face and have a good tiffin. Then I go to the playground to take part in the games. At night, I return home, wash my body, and then sit at my lessons for the next day. This continues till about 10 p.m. with a break of half an hour for supper. At 10:30 p.m. I go to bed. My parents keep a watchful eye on my conduct and progress at school. This is what has enabled me to stick to the above routine and win the good opinion of my teachers. I hope I shall continue to enjoy this all my student life. Fifth, your first day at school. Points. Introduction. How you felt at first. Behavior of the classmates. How the teachers impressed you. Conclusion. Many years have passed since I was first put in school. Still the memory of the first day is quite fresh in my mind. My father took me to the headmaster, who directed me to my class. It was class 4th, to which I had been admitted the previous day. There were 20 boys in all, most of whom were about my age. School had not begun yet, so the room was full of talks. No sooner did I take a seat than a number of boys gathered around, making inquiries about me. I was a little nervous at first, but when I found that there were no malice in them, I began to feel quite at ease. One of them seemed to like me and seated me beside him. Later we became fast friends, and this friendship has lasted all these years of our school life. Soon after the bell rang and a teacher entered the class, we all stood up and saluted him. He accepted the salute with a sweet smile and bade us sit down. As his eyes fell on me, he came up and asked me my name. His gentle tone put me at ease, and I answered him freely and modestly. With the same words of cheer to me, he took up the day's lesson. The manner in which he explained his subject made the lesson clear to all. The other teachers too, who came that day, made almost the same impression on me. One of them asked me to the board and made me write a few words dictated by him. When he found my spellings all correct, he was much pleased and patted me on the back. During the tiffin period, I watched for some time the boys playing in the school compound. Then I joined a game of hide and seek with a few of my classmates. There were 2 periods of class work after that. My experience during this time was almost the same as during the early hours. When the class was dismissed, I returned home with all my early fears gone. Instead, I felt an urge to win the love of my teachers and classmates in every possible way.